Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a short hypnosis session that was created for a client that had a fear of swallowing or anxiety at the idea of swallowing food. This was as a result of various sensitizing events throughout her childhood where there was the risk of death due to a choking hazard. And that's not unusual for this particular phobia, that someone might have a belief system that something could get lodged in their throat. And if you believe that to be true, then it creates a particular biological reaction. So if you believe that you could choke, then it increases tension. And if you particularly increase tension, quite often subconsciously around the neck, the contraction of the esophagus actually means it becomes more difficult to swallow. So if you imagine that someone's trying to poke you in your eyes, for example, you might close your eyes because you're trying to protect your eyes. So the esophagus and the actual kind of throat closing up is designed to protect it from a threat. But in turn, that can create more anxiety because typically someone with this kind of fear will then worry about not being able to eat, not being able to, survive. Because if you can't eat, if you can't swallow, well, then there's a fear that what if I can never, kind of eat food again or swallow food again? So that can create panic, and the very panic creates even more tension around the neck. And it's a bit of an anxiety loop. So what you're going to hear in this particular session is the follow-on to a lengthy bit of work that we did before the actual hypnosis, which was based on the idea of the strategy for this particular client was a lot of inner dialogue. So separating that inner dialogue to disassociate it, but more importantly, to create a way of immediately reducing tension, particularly around the jaw, the neck, the throat, and all those kind of muscles, so that even if she did have a reaction, she could have a tool to manage that rapidly, which is important for two reasons. One, it's useful if you're in a very anxious state to be able to reduce that anxiety and reduce that tension. But equally, just knowing that you have that tool that you can use means that it changes the evaluations so that you feel more able to kind of eat your food in the way that you normally would. So this is going to be useful perhaps for anyone that has a specific fear of swallowing or choking. Obviously, it was created for someone else. So if it doesn't quite fit what you're looking for, there will be a link in the show notes that you can schedule a free consultation call with me just to explore how I might be able to help you with your specific situation. But it's well worth listening to this because this might just do the trick in terms of reducing your anxiety and getting you to perceive it differently when you're in these kind of states. It will also work, by the way, for anyone that's just feeling anxious, because there's lots of suggestions here about relaxation and resources that would be empowering, even if you don't have a fear of swallowing. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale once, exhale again and again, until there's nothing left in your lungs before taking another deep breath in. As you breathe in, imagine breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And then as you exhale, attempt 3 or 4 outward breaths, completely emptying your lungs. Meaning that as you next breathe in, you breathe in a deep, diaphragmatic breath. I want you to use the power of your imagination, so as you start breathing this way, you imagine a bright, vibrant color that represents relaxation. Imagine breathing in that bright, colorful feeling of relaxation. And then as you exhale, those 3 or 4 times, just imagine a gray or dark color leaving your body, representing feelings of tension, stress, or anxiety that aren't needed in this moment. Consider this a respiratory version of a transfusion. And even if you've never had a blood transfusion, you understand the principle. The clean, healthy blood goes in, and the blood that's infected leaves. And as you breathe in this resourceful feeling of relaxation, imagine resourceful emotions are going in, and unresourceful emotions like stress, anxiety, and tension are leaving in that outward breath. And the deeper you breathe out, and the more you fully empty your lungs, the deeper the intensity of that bright, vibrant emotion of resourcefulness goes in through your nose, enabling you to relax. First of all, it might be the muscles around your neck, around your throat, around your eyes, around your forehead. As you breathe in, just notice how good it feels to release that tension now. Release any tension around your jaw, around your mouth. Imagine perhaps that tension in any muscle is like frozen crystals of ice. And as you breathe in this warm feeling of resourceful relaxation, just imagine it's melting away any tension. Create an image in your mind of an icicle melting in the sun. And that represents the tension that is just melting away, enabling you to feel deeper relaxed. So as you breathe out those 3 or 4 times, any remaining tension is leaving your body. As your body relaxes, your imagination can become more playful. And I want you to imagine that you're on the side of a mountain. Thick snow. And imagine you're perhaps skiing down to the side of a ridge. And by that ridge, you can look out to a beautiful forest. You can see the trees. You can see for miles around. Perhaps in the distance, you can see the horizon. And maybe there's sun and maybe there's clouds. And I want you to get a sense that in this moment, there is just peace and tranquility. That feelings of tension are just disappearing completely. And I want you to imagine the coziest, most comfortable chair imaginable. And there it is on the side of this beautiful landscape. And I want you to imagine taking a seat. Perhaps it's a recliner, you can put your feet up, lean back, look out at this wonderful nature. And I want you to imagine, you can imagine the muscles around your throat and your neck. And I want you to imagine the crystals of ice locked there in your throat muscles. You can see them contracting. But as you breathe in this warm, resourceful feeling of relaxation, just imagine those crystals of ice locked there in your neck and your throat, melting away. And as it melts away, you can feel the tension leaving the muscles around your neck, around your throat, giving you a sense that it's effortless to swallow. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. In fact, the more relaxed you notice you are, the easier it is to swallow. I want you to imagine there on that sofa, there is any food that you desire, and I want you to imagine that you're eating it effortlessly. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. Delicious food, amazing foods, imagine the taste, the smell, but most of all, notice how effortless it is to taste, to chew, and to swallow. The easiest thing in the world. And notice you're in a dialogue. It's just quiet. There's nothing there. It's a similar sensation to skiing down a mountain. There is no need for inner dialogue. But even if inner dialogue was to come, I want you to imagine it feels somehow like it's not inside you. I want you to create an image in your mind of a small animal, a small bear perhaps. And just imagine that any inner dialogue that's telling you can't do this feels like it's far away in a squeaky voice, so easy to dismiss, and continue to eat the food, the delicious food on the side of a mountain, giving you evidence that it was never about the food, and it was never about your ability to swallow. That's always been there. I want you to accept the suggestion that the key threat here is nothing but your own evaluations. And when you evaluate that this is effortless and easy, it doesn't even require thought. Notice that that is also a self-fulfilling prophecy. Just imagine you've eaten that delicious meal, feeling so relaxed around your throat, your neck, breathing in deeply, but low, not in the chest, low in the belly, activating that diaphragm, feeling muscles around your neck, your shoulders, your arms are just limp and loose and relaxed. You can breathe deeply in effortlessly. You can swallow effortlessly. And you can move your head from side to side, almost like it's a balloon on a string. Notice the absence of tension, and notice how much confidence you have that you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want. That is no longer a barrier anymore. Now it's time to return to the present, but take all those wonderful feelings of relaxation with you as you accept that this is just thinking within thinking, dreams within dreams, ideas within ideas, as you return back to the present, listening to the sound of my voice. And very soon I will count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You'll awaken feeling resourceful, relaxed, calm and confident, with an overall sense that I've got this. This is well within your capabilities. Take one final deep breath in, a deep breath out. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that all of you is back in the moment, in the present, firmly. That's it. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken full of positivity, optimism, feeling in a state of calmness, resourcefulness, and flow, starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.